Hey there, and welcome back to Wellness Unfiltered with Dr. Quinnett. I am Dr. Quinnett Swank, therapist and women's wellness coach, and I am so glad you're here. And before we dive into today's topic, I want to share something very exciting with you. Starting with this episode, we are kicking off a 6-part summer series called Summer Wellness Reset. So, over the next 6 weeks, we're going to cover 6 different topics that are all focused around one reset. We're going to talk about alcohol. We're going to talk about nutrition, movement, sleep, our relationships, and identity. And each of these areas, although it's its own area, it all comes together to tell one complete story about what it actually looks like to reset your wellness this summer in a way that's real and sustainable and actually fits your life. You know, I am all about sustainability. Like, what can we do long term? But how do we also make it fit into our real life? So, I'm really excited about this series and I can't wait for you to go on this journey with me. So, let's kick it off. And today, we are talking about something that does not get discussed enough in the wellness space, and that's alcohol. And specifically, the question that I believe that I asked myself, and I believe that many women in their 30s and 40s and beyond are quietly asking, but we're not asking it out loud. And that's this question of, is alcohol affecting me differently than it used to? And before we go any further, I want to be very clear. This is not a judgment conversation. This is not me telling you that you need to stop drinking. This is not about shaming anyone's choices. This conversation is truly about getting very curious. I always tell you, get curious, right? Because I think a lot of women have this sense that maybe something has shifted and no one has really connected the dots. So today, that's exactly what we're going to do. So let's get into it. And before we get deep into it, I want to start with something personal, which is my own journey with alcohol and specifically wine. It was a part of my routine. And for a long time, it felt completely normal for me to have a glass of wine at the end of the week. That was kind of my little routine. End of a long week, I would have a glass of wine. It was my way to wind down. It was my transition from work mode into the weekend mode. But at some point, I started to notice something, and I noticed that one glass of wine, it did not impact me in the way that it used to the following day. I wasn't hungover. It wasn't, I was just, I was more tired than I felt like I should have been. I felt a little more flat, like my energy wasn't there. And I realized that my body was not responding the same way that it used to. My sleep was horrible, and the progress that I was trying to make, it wasn't happening. It was so much slower, and really, if I'm being honest, it kind of stalled out. So, I remember thinking like, "Okay, something is off," but I could not figure out what it was until I started paying closer attention to the connection between how I felt and what I had consumed the night before. So I got really curious. I mean, I was looking at everything like, what did I eat and how much did I eat? Right. And then I started looking at, okay, wait, what did I have to drink? And when I cut wine out, my sleep improved almost immediately. It was crazy. My energy came back. My body started to respond the way that it had previously responded. And I started meeting my goals that, I had kind of just thought, like, okay, well, this is just not going to happen. And I want to be clear, I am not telling you to cut out alcohol. That is your choice, it is your life. But I am asking you the same question that I had to ask myself, which is it helping or is it hurting? So let's talk about the why, okay? Because there is actually a really important, like, clinical reason why alcohol may be affecting you differently than it did in your 20s. And it all comes back to this beautiful word, perimenopause. Here's the reality. As we shift more into perimenopause, our hormones fluctuate. and our bodies will process alcohol differently. Our liver enzymes change. Our body water composition changes. And so our sensitivity to alcohol, it increases. That means that the same amount of alcohol you used to drink without any issue can now have a bigger impact on your body. And that's exactly what I saw for myself. And the effects are not just about how you feel in the moment. That's the crazy part. Alcohol affects your sleep. So even just one glass or two glasses can totally disrupt your sleep. And you may fall asleep easily, but you're less likely to get into that deep, restorative sleep that your body needs. And for women in perimenopause who we're already dealing with sleep issues, right? And so this makes things significantly worse. Alcohol also affects your hormones. And so for women who are already navigating hormonal fluctuations, that added disruption can show up as more intense mood swings, more anxiety, more bloating, and more difficulty just managing some of these symptoms. And I already talked about this a little bit, but it does affect your mood. So many women, we tend to reach for that glass of wine to reduce our stress or our anxiety. And I'm saying wine, it could be any type of alcohol, but we tend to reach for that drink to reduce stress or anxiety. And while this feels very relaxing in the moment, alcohol is actually considered a depressant. And so the next day, anxiety it pops up. And for women who are already navigating anxiety in perimenopause, that rebound effect can be significant. Like your anxiety might be even higher the next day. Alcohol also affects your body composition. So it is, and that is a hard truth. Okay. It is a very calorie dense quote unquote food. And it can increase our cravings. Like I said, it already disrupts our sleep, which is going to affect our hormones, but specifically, it'll impact our hunger hormones. And it can also make it harder to build and maintain muscle. So, for women focused on strength and body comp changes in midlife, this matters. And so, if you're trying to get to like a certain type of body composition, and you're drinking alcohol, this might be the culprit as to why you're not reaching those goals. Because alcohol also affects your recovery. So, again, if you're strength training and you're trying to eat well and manage your stress and working on your overall wellness, you're doing all the right things. Alcohol is this silent thing in the background that can quietly work against all of that. But here's what I want you to hear. This does not mean that you can never have a drink. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. But it does mean that maybe it's worth asking the honest question of, is this helping me or is this hurting me in terms of my goals? Okay. So here's what I want you to sit with this week. It's not a challenge, it's not a rule, it's not a program, it's just a question. Is alcohol helping you or hurting you right now? And I want you to answer that honestly. Remember, this is unfiltered wellness. So, honestly, for me, unfiltered, it was hurting me. It was hurting me a lot. I was not reaching my goals. I was killing myself in the gym, trying to track everything. I even tracked the alcohol. But when I took it out, I saw a dramatic shift for me. Not to say that that's what everyone has to do, but I had to really look at that and I had to realize that even though it was one glass, that one glass, it was impacting me. So we're not asking this question from a place of guilt. We're not asking this question from a place of shame. There was no shame in when I asked that question to myself. I was truly asking from a place of genuine curiosity about how it was impacting my body. And that is what I want you to do. I want you to just notice a couple things. How do you sleep after you drink versus nights when you don't drink? How do you feel the next morning? Like really get curious. Like what's your energy like? What's your mood? Do you feel more clear? How does your body feel? Your digestion, your like, do you feel bloated? Do you feel inflamed? Right? Do you have this do you feel like you just have a lot of inflammation in your body? And also, how is your anxiety? Here's another question that I think we again, we have to be really honest with ourselves. Are you reaching for alcohol out of habit, out of stress, out of boredom, or do you just genuinely enjoy it? And if I'm being honest, sometimes it was out of habit. Sometimes it was because it was stressful. Sometimes I was just bored. And sometimes if we were at like a really fancy restaurant, it was just pure enjoyment, right? So these questions are not trick questions. They are just guiding questions to give you information. Because here's the truth. Some women cut out alcohol and they feel dramatically better. That was me. And some women, they just cut back and they notice a meaningful difference. And some women find that one or two drinks occasionally, it doesn't significantly impact their goals or their well being. So, hear me, there is no one size fits all answer here, but there is one question that matters. And that is this: what is it doing for your body right now in this season of life? Remember, we have to do things differently as we start to go beyond 35 plus. The game changes, the rules changes. So we have to do things differently. And if you're honest with yourself and the answer to the question is that it's working against you, it's working against your sleep, your progress, your energy, more than it's adding to your life, then that is worth paying attention to. You don't have to change everything overnight. And again, I'm not asking you to change anything right now. I'm just asking you to get curious and ask the questions because you deserve to have the information so that you can make the best decision for you and your life that is going to support you now and long term. Okay. That's it this week. I just want you to get curious. Pick 2 or 3 nights this week. Pay attention. Notice how you sleep. Notice how you feel the next day. How's your energy? How's your mood? How does your body feel? There's no judgment. There's no pressure. It's just information. Because sometimes the most powerful shift that we can make in our wellness journey, it's again, it's not a dramatic overhaul. Sometimes it's just paying attention to something you have been ignoring. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I know that this is one of those topics that's like, ooh, really? Alcohol? Is she trying to call me out? Absolutely not. I just want you to get curious. Okay. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a second to follow the show if you're not already and leave a review. It really helps more women find this podcast, and that is exactly why I created it. And if this episode resonated with you, please share it with the woman in your life who needs to hear it, or really anybody in your life that needs to hear it, because that's how we're going to continue to grow this community together. As always, please send me a message on Instagram at Swank Wellness and let me know what landed for you today. And before we go, all the information that I share, it's educational purposes only, and it's not intended to replace any medical advice or mental health treatment. So always consult your own healthcare provider if you have any concerns about your physical or mental health. Remember, your body is not working against you, even though it feels like that at times. It is communicating with you. So continue to be curious, keep showing up for yourself, and I will see you in the next episode of Wellness Unfiltered with Dr. Quinnett. Until next time, take care.